I had been a member of the Black Dragon Gang for 2 months, but I was still yet to officially meet Mr. Lin. Mr. Lin was the second in command of the Black Dragon Gang. We met once on the day of the fire at Pitt Street 99. He was also the one who had been inducted into the gang. I thought I would be able to get some information about my sister once I joined the gang. But soon, I had found out that everyone in my group, including our leader Mr. Kwan, knew nothing about her. As for Mr. Lin himself, he rarely ever came to number 99 in person. Still, there were some upsides from joining the gang. At least I didn't have to worry about room and board anymore. My Cantonese was also improving a lot. Besides, not everyone in the gang was as scary as one would expect with a gang member. Ren was one of the nice guys. I belonged to the group loyalty team. The group oversaw the loan business, so we were essentially the loan sharks in the gang. Now that I'd become a member, I couldn't just coast along without doing anything. But I also didn't want to do wrong things. I told Ren about my predicament during one of our conversations. Ren then told Mr. Kwan that he wanted to bring me along when he went debt collecting. Every time we went, Ren would whisk the kids of the families away first. Then I would tear apart their old clothes, spill some chicken blood on them and mail the clothing to the debtors. Once we were sure that the debtors had received the bloody clothes, Ren would then make a phone call.
Hey, you've got the package right. I'm giving you 3 days. If you still don't have our money, you will be getting more than just clothes next time.
He sounds like Uncle Wang, the big butcher at the street corner with a violent attitude. The afro on his head would bounce 3 times with a rhythm every time he yelled at his customers. As soon as he put down the phone, he would immediately turn into a preschool teacher and go play with our hostages, who were wearing the new clothes we had just bought them. Ren would get scolded by Mr. Kwan every once in a while. He said Hong Kong was too small of a place. If everyone learned how group loyalty handled the business, it would become more and more difficult to collect the money. But Ren never took it seriously. Ren knew that I'd come to Hong Kong to find my sister. Even though he couldn't help much, he would always allow me to go out and look for her whenever there weren't any assignments. Every time Mr. Kwan asked about me, he would also cover for me. Just like today, I had been out asking around the whole morning, but I still got nothing. When I got back to number 99, everyone in the group seemed to have a strange smirk on their faces. Ren said they were going to go and get a massage, and they had been waiting for me to come back so that they could put me on watch duty.
Massage. While on paper sex work is technically prohibited in Hong Kong, it has nevertheless flourished on the island. Mong Kok, Prince Edward and Yau Ma Tei are well-known red light districts in Hong Kong. In particular, Portland Street, which is located between Mong Kok and Prince Edward, is the most infamous one. It looks like a normal street during the day, but it turns into a different erotic sight during the night. Storefronts with signs for massages, foot spa, nightclub are sprinkled among residential buildings, providing all kinds of services for customers. There are girls from all over the world available, such as those from Taiwan, mainland China, Hong Kong, Russia, Japan. Furthermore, one could even choose based on preferences, including black stockings, model, flight attendant, and more, with costs in a range of 300 to 800 Hong Kong dollars. On the other hand, when the locals want a real legitimate massage, they would typically choose to go to Shenzhen, as it is far more economical there. Oh.
I laughed knowingly.
Help yourself to the beer on the table. I'll pay for those. We're off. Oh, and I almost forgot. There's someone in the room who Mr. Kwan told us to keep an eye on. Don't let her get away.
Then I left. A girl was tied to a chair in the corner of the room. Although there was a clove stuffed in her mouth, she still seemed very pretty. She looked Asian, but she had dark skin like mine. Her eyes were thin and curly like a pair of new moons. Her shining black hair draped down from her head like a dark waterfall, and she was wearing a purple short skirt. It looked that the skirt had been torn on its side. Well, if Mr. Kwan wanted her watched, then I should just watch her. No need to think too much about it. I slapped my cheeks to keep myself alert. I raised the bottle. Then a rope snapped. I was reading the labels on Ren's beers when I heard the sound of a rope snapping. Before I could turn around, I felt a hand strike the back of my neck. I blacked out. I didn't know how long had passed. A bucket of cold water was thrown in my face. I woke up with a shudder and opened my eyes. I saw Mr. Kwan standing right in front of me. Everybody was back in the room. They all had a terrible look on their faces. I looked to the corner again. The chair was still there, and there were 2 halves of a rope on the floor. The girl was gone. Oh crap, I had made a terrible mistake. Ren tossed the knife over to me and looked away. I had not been in the group for long, but I knew the rules. If I wanted to stay, I had to do this. I bit my lip hard and cut off my left pinky finger. Half of the bloody finger dropped to the floor. Blood was still gushing out. It hurt like hell, but I was a man. I didn't make a sound. Who on earth was that girl? If only I'd been more alert.
Why did he cut off his own pinky finger? It's a ritual in the Mafia and some gangs. If you make a mistake, you must cut off your own pinky finger. Some gangs might even make the new members cut it off before officially joining.
Wow, that's so scary.
Carlos. Alright. I mean, this is pretty obvious. There's a couple of things we could do here. I shouldn't be laughing about this, but I really want to know what that does. I mean, this is obviously a bad ending for Carlos.
I just sat back down when Mr. Kwan came back. He looked inside the room and a grim expression came over his face.
Oh, she committed suicide, probably. This is how you watch someone.
I quickly turned around. Oh my lord. Earlier the girl had seemed to be having a seizure.
Oh, no, okay.
Her entire body was shaking and she kept hitting the wall with her head. I was afraid that she would hurt herself too much, so I adjusted the rope on her. But I didn't realize that the rope had become tighter and tighter while she was struggling, and that she almost couldn't breathe. Thank God Mr. Kwan had come back early and noticed that. Otherwise I would have made an unforgivable mistake.
Okay, yeah, alright. Sure. I must stop that. I climbed up under the table and smashed the vodka bottle on his head. He suddenly stopped and fell to the ground on his back. Something dark and red was coming out of Dad's head and onto the floor. Mum sat back up. Her face was pale like a piece of paper. She coughed violently for a while and cried. I carefully climbed off of the table and ran into her arms, just like I always do. Every time Dad lost his temper, we would huddle together like this. It was the only way we could make ourselves feel better. I didn't know what Dad would do to us when he woke up. I wished I never had a dad like him. Park Sang-gung's story is so sad. Why is his father's... Wait, his? That's a guy? So cruel. Why would someone kill his own wife? Thank goodness we could help him. Who knows? Maybe his father was mentally ill. Humans are easily stressed. Some people would ease their stress by exercising, overeating, or smashing things. Some people, however, became twisted. He was so young. If only he hadn't had a father like this. If he never had his father, he would not have existed. You're right. Does that mean I had a father too? You're a god, so of course not. Don't overthink it. Get back to work. S and bad. Well, yeah, fair. Well... Would that change anything?
Mr. Kwan came back.
Yeah.
He looked inside the room and a grim expression came over his face.
You're dead now, Carlos.
I quickly turned around. Oh my lord. Earlier the girl had seemed...
Yeah, okay. And now Mr. Kwan didn't come in time. So she died.
Now she was dead. Oh lord, what have I done? I dropped down on my knees. I couldn't stop shaking. A bullet flew out of Mr. Kwan's gun. It was flying towards me and I could see it getting closer and closer.
Well, yep, that certainly was a bad ending. Alright. I'll have to do this, won't I? Her rope can't snap. I mean, technically I could pull both of these over. I want to try this first. Let's see.
The girl seemed to be having a seizure. Her entire body was shaking and she kept hitting the wall with her head. Mr. Kwan would kill me if she hurt herself too much. I tried adjusting the rope on her, hoping to pin her head to the back of the chair. But she suddenly started struggling with all her might and the rope snapped. I grabbed her arm as she was trying to get up from the chair. You can't. Before I could finish, she kicked me in the crotch. I felt a boom in my head. She was so tough, even tougher than my sister. She knocked me out in just a few hits, then she tied me to the chair like a zongji. P.S. Zongji was one of my favorite Chinese desserts. She spent a long time tying me up. When she opened the door, she happened to bump into Mr. Kwan, who had just come back. Mr. Kwan looked over her head and...
Oh, skip that, unfortunately. Bondage play? You couldn't even handle a girl? You useless piece of shit.
As a reward, Mr. Kwan gave me a punch to the face. I could see so many Mexican flags flying around my head.
That's an A rank, it's not too bad. Okay, how do I improve that? I mean, if I pull that away, then Mr. Kwan never comes, does he? Out of curiosity. Okay, no, that doesn't change anything. That only changes something for him.
The rope fell out of Dad's hands. He was about to pick it up when the doorbell rang. Dad then went into the yard. It sounded like Alex had brought some people over to intervene. He had once tried to do it by himself, but he was badly beaten by Dad and kicked out. He never dared to come back on his own since. When Dad returned from the door, he seemed to have forgotten about what was going on. He just gave me a kick when he walked past me and went straight to bed. Mum sat on the ground and cried. I climbed over into her arms just like I always did. Every time Dad lost his temper, we would huddle together like this.
Yeah, I've read through that.
We were lucky enough to get through it this time, but what about next time? How long did we have to keep living like this? I hated to be so scared all the time. I wished I never had a dad like him.
That's an A rank as well. Okay. Huh. Does this even work in that way? Just out of curiosity, I haven't tried this before. Oh. Okay, this already gives him an S rank. So I need to play around with this a bit, I think. What does that do? It's also bad. I've already had this. That's bad. That's an A rank. I feel like I've tried all of the combinations here. Yeah. So I need to bring this over here. Won't I? Or I need to get something away from here. What about this? That might be it.
I heard the sound of a rope snapping. I turned around and I saw the girl shaking off the rope. Mr. Kwan would kill me if I let her get away. I grabbed her arm as she was trying to get up from the chair.
Okay, we've read this. Yeah, okay. We've had this before, didn't we? Still an A. How many endings have I? I've unlocked everything except the S rank. That's funny. And for him, I've unlocked, well, barely anything. Okay. How would... I feel like I need to do this to have Carlos have an upper hand. Then I need to figure out how this can work. How about this? Okay, that just changes it for Carlos.
Mr. Kwan had come back. He pulled up a chair in front of the girl and sat down. He began asking her questions. The others had come back from the massage as well. We were all standing next to the wall. No one dared make a sound. From Mr. Kwan's questions, I learned that the girl's name was Ye. Mr. Kwan had only met her recently. Mr. Kwan had even bought her an apartment. Mr. Kwan was a tough man, but he had always been a very gentle to women, and he had never slept around either. Therefore, he couldn't tolerate being betrayed by his woman. A few days ago, he had found out that Ye had been hanging out with people from the Blood Gang. He began to suspect that she had been approaching him with other intentions. He decided to find out the truth. Mr. Kwan dumped a bucket of ice water on her head. The air conditioning had been set to max power at 16 degrees Celsius, and it was blowing directly at her. Every time she would not answer a question, he would cut off some of her hair or slap her in the face. Ye was quite tough though. Her mouth had started bleeding, almost all of her hair had been cut off, and she still hadn't spoken once. But Mr. Kwan was tougher. He sent Ren to fetch him a bottle of white flour oil. He twisted off the cap, forced Ye's eyes open, and was about to drop it into her eyes. Ye was shaking uncontrollably, and tears were welling out of her eyes. She was finally broken. Mr. Kwan was right about everything. Ye was not just a member of the Blood Gang, she was also the niece of their big boss, Mr. Chang. But that wasn't what had angered Mr. Kwan the most. Ye hadn't seduced him to infiltrate group loyalty for her own business. She was only trying to get closer to the other groups of the Black Dragon Gang. She had only chosen Kwan because he was single and therefore an easier and more convenient target for her. The Blood Gang had never cared about the lone business at all. Mr. Kwan was outraged, feeling incredibly insulted.
Carlos, take care of this bitch. Never let me see her again. That's an S rank for him, but only an A rank for him. Okay. Let me check out history. It's the S rank for me. It only needs a bottle. Let me go back. What can I do here? Would this change anything? No, that's just bad. Would this change anything? That's bad. Would that... That's also bad. It makes sense, of course. What if I put both of these here? Like this. It's an A rank for both. This way? Same. A rank. Yeah, I've tried all of these before. That's bad. Just out of curiosity, let me try all of them again to check if I actually did. This is not easy to remember how, or if you have, it didn't even change it this time, if you have checked all of these. Yeah, none of this is particularly good. I feel like I need this over here, and I need to figure out something with this over here. That doesn't change anything. No. What if just nothing? Oh, that's it. There we go. Carlos just doesn't do anything. Yeah, he watched her. Nothing happened. Everything's fine. I guess it makes sense, yeah. Alright, we got some new letters, but we're going to look at them in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.